And welcome back. Housing inventory posted the biggest increase on record on a year-over-year basis thanks to a new report. On top of that, home prices have declined by about 10% since June of this year. We compare that to 2019 though, home prices only declined by 2%, whereas this year they declined by 10%. So in today's video, I'm going to take a deep dive into what we're seeing right now in our US housing market so you guys can make a more informed decision about whether you should be buying or selling a house. And by the way, this is based on data that was actually just published today, which is the 29th of December from Redfin here. And they reported the supply of houses for sale posted a record year-over-year increase this week as houses are taking longer to sell. But some buyers are also making their way back, according to Redfin here, based on Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index, which is showing a slight uptick in early stage demand. I'll have some more information to share regarding that because I'll share more later in the video here. Anyways, the total number of houses for sale rose 18% from 1 year ago during the 4 weeks ended December 25th of this year. The biggest increase since at least 2015, which is as far back as Redfin's data goes. So a record increase of 18% on a year-over-year basis, which actually does not agree to AltosResearch.com or Realtor.com because both of those companies are reporting gains on a year-over-year basis of 60%. So I'm guessing it's due to different time frames and also or different time periods they're looking at, but also different data sets as well. But according to Redfin here, the biggest increase so far since at least 2015. They also mentioned that inventory is up even though new listings are down by double digits. And this is what I've been talking about for quite some time on the channel, right? Because we're seeing a huge decrease of new listings, yet an increase of housing inventory. This is because of a decrease of home buying demand, houses taking longer to sell, and fewer contracts being signed between buyers and sellers. Also, according to Redfin here, a typical home was on the market for 40 days before going under contract. That's a time frame when a house is being listed for sale to when they accept an offer from home buyer. That's days in the market, and it's actually a measure once the house closes escrow here. But days in the market is at 40 days right now. This is more than double the record low that we saw back in May when days in the market was only 18 days. Also at 40 days, this is the slowest pace since January of 2021. So in other words, it's taking more than twice as long to sell a house right now compared to May of this year. Redfin also noted that they do not expect home sales to increase until well into January of next year. Now let's talk about home prices in the US now because Redfin is reporting that home sold prices, again, a lagging indicator, what our housing market was like approximately 1 to 2 months ago when the offer was accepted, but these are based on closed home sales. Home sold prices fell year over year in 17 of the 50 most populous US metros during the 4 weeks ended December 25th. And by the way, last week, there actually reported 14 metros that are reporting decreases in home prices on a year-over-year basis. Now it's 17. Also, by my math right here, at 17 of the 50 most populous metros reporting decreases in home prices on a year-over-year basis, this actually represents 34% of the 50 biggest cities that are reporting home price decreases compared to 1 year ago. So again, approximately 34% of the 50 biggest cities in the US are reporting decreases in home prices compared to the same time frame 1 year ago. I mean, what a difference a year makes because this number here was 0 1 year ago because of home price gains that we saw back in 2020 and 2021, and also the early parts of 2022. They also state the 17 cities that are reporting decreases here because prices fell 9% year over year in San Francisco. And by the way, according to the California Association of Realtors, as of November, compared to November 2021, they're reporting that the median sold price in San Francisco has declined by 21%. Whereas Redfin is reporting a decrease of 9% on a year-over-year basis for the 4 weeks ended December 25th this year. Also, home prices decreased by 6.5% in San Jose, California, down 6% in Los Angeles, 4.5% in Detroit, 4.4% in Pittsburgh, 3.7% in Sacramento, where I live and work as a real estate agent, 3.6% in Oakland, 2.3% in Austin. They also fell less than 2% in New York, Seattle, Anaheim, Phoenix, Chicago, Newark, New Jersey, Riverside, Boston, as well as Washington, D.C. So even though it doesn't sound like a lot that home prices decrease in Washington, D.C. and Boston by less than 2%, this also marks the first time Boston home prices have fallen since at least 2015, as far back as Redfin data goes. It's also the first time Washington, D.C., in which prices have fallen since 2016. I also have a lot more to share regarding home prices nationwide, especially compared to 2019 here, so stay tuned for that. So let's talk a little bit more about some leading indicators of home buying demand, some early indications of home buying demand, what could impact our home sold prices and also home sales in the weeks and months ahead here. They talk about the 30-year fixed rate mortgages ticking up 6.42%, or ticking up to an average of 6.42%. The first increase after 6 weeks of declines. This is based on Freddie Mac's weekly survey that's conducted on a weekly basis. Of course, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah, of course, it's conducted on a weekly basis. And this is one reason why I actually do not like looking at weekly surveys of mortgage rates, because actually rates tend to fluctuate quite a bit more than on a weekly basis, especially when we have such a high volatility in our housing market, especially regarding rates this year. So they talk about this is the first increase after 6 weeks of declines. They did decrease for 6 consecutive weeks, as you can see right there. But actually today, which again is the 29th of December, they posted that rates actually increased. They went from 6.27% to 6.42%. That's what Freddie Mac is saying here, that rates have increased for the first time in 7 weeks, more or less. But when looking at daily rates, according to the Mortgage News Daily, as I've been important to you guys, rates have been increasing ever since December 16th of this year. So this is really old news that rates have been increasing, because ever since December 16th, rates have been more or less increasing. Now they're at 6.50%. So when talking about weekly updates here, that was actually just published on the 29th here, they're reporting rates actually increase. But again, when looking at daily rates, rates have been increasing since December 16th of this year. And going back to Redfin's report here, they say mortgage purchase applications, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, or the MBA, was essentially flat from 1 week ago and was up 4.6% from 1 month earlier. Purchase applications were down 36% from 1 year ago, though. Also, according to Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index, which of course is an index which measures the number of home tours and other home buying services by Redfin agents, that actually increased by 10% from 1 month ago, but still down about 20% from 1 year ago. And here's a look at that index here over the past few years. The red line's 2022, blue line's 2021, and here's 2020 in gray. So on a year-over-year basis, we're still down 20% from 2021 this time, but has been increasing ever since the middle of October this year. And also, as you can see here, the current index is actually below 2020's levels as well. Redfin also shared that fewer people are searching for homes for sale on Google, and that's down about 38% from a year ago. So when you actually click on this link right here, it actually takes you to this right here, which is Google Trends. It shows the interest over time for a particular search term. In this case, this is looking for people searching for homes for sale. But here's where they are actually missing the mark here, or at least what Redfin's missing the mark here, because they're looking at worldwide searches for homes for sale. And last I checked, Redfin only shares what's happening right now in the US housing market. So what they should do is change this to actually the United States and not worldwide searches for homes for sale. So here's what happens when you do that. Here's the US searches for homes for sale. This is what they actually should be looking at here. So this is what I found to be interesting though, because for the week ended December 31st, so actually this is partial data. For the week ended December 24th, the interest over time was a measure of 43. This is actually the lowest levels since approximately the week ended December 1st of 2018. So clearly there's a lack of people searching for homes for sale, which could imply that home buying demand has been decreasing. Speaking of home buying demand decreasing, here's a look at home showings across North America, according to showingtime.com. So for the week ended December 28th, home showings are down about 66.4% compared to the first week of this year, compared to the first week of 2022. Back in 2021, it decreased by 56.9%. In 2020, it decreased by 48.8%. And again, just like I mentioned in my previous video, it's entirely normal to see a lack of home showings during the holidays, obviously during Thanksgiving, and also during the holidays in December here. So what I'm really interested to see is that what is this number going to look like in the next few months, especially in this home buying season in spring? Are we going to see an uptick of home buying demand, or is home buying demand going to be lackluster? Of course, time will tell, and I'll definitely keep you posted. All right, let's change gears again, talk about housing inventory. Because according to Redfin, housing inventory increased by 18.21% on a year-over-year basis, the biggest yearly increase since 2015. And again, it's important to note here that housing inventory has been increasing compared to last year, despite the fact we're seeing double-digit decreases in new listings. Obviously, if new listings were absolutely skyrocketing, housing inventory would also be skyrocketing as well. But despite the fact we've been seeing fewer new listings, inventory has been increasing compared to 2021. One more thing that's very important that I want to mention regarding housing inventory is that even though we have more houses listed for sale compared to 2021, we actually have far less compared to 2019. But despite that, our housing market in the US is slowing down big time, and that leads me to home prices. And speaking of home prices, have a look at this, because the median sold price in the US right now is $352,000. This means compared to 1 year ago, that home prices only increased by 0.7%. So we're getting very, very close to negative price growth in the US. On top of that, have a look at this, because back in more or less June of this year, the median sold price in the US was $390,000. Now it's approximately $352,000. This means home prices have declined by about 10% since June of this year. We compare that to the same time frame in 2019, June 2019 through the end of December 2019, home prices declined by only 2%. Again, declining by 2% in 2019 versus 10% this year, despite the fact we have far fewer houses listed for sale right now compared to 2019. A couple more things I want to mention regarding home prices in the US is that at a 1% gain or a 0.7% gain on a year-to-year basis, going back to 2021, we actually saw increases by 14% compared to 2020. Also in 2020, the median sold price increased by 13%. And also in 2019, it increased by 6%. So when looking at home prices right now compared to 2019, where we're seeing home price gains of 31%. This is home prices right now versus the same time frame in 2019, up by 31%. The significance regarding this is that when looking at home prices this June compared to June of 2019, home prices were up by 42%. So in other words, home price gains were much higher compared to June of this year, compared to June of 2019, up by 42%, versus the gains we're seeing right now, up by 31% compared to the end of December of 2019. And by the way, I just did some quick math there. When looking at home prices right now compared to 2019, for those who are looking to see home prices decrease to 2019's levels, current prices right now have to decrease by 24% right now in order to get to 2019's levels. So in other words, we have a long ways to go if we're ever going to see home prices going back to 2019. And with that said, please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. Of course, I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.